Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be talking about AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification Real Exam Questions Part 5. So this is a series for AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification exam questions. You can watch the part 1 till 5 of this till 4 of the series. I will leave the link in the description box. So let's get started with the questions. So, question number 41, it says, which tasks are the responsibility of AWS according to the AWS Shared Responsibility model? And you have to choose two options. The options are uh, patch the Amazon EC2 guest operating system, upgrade the firmware of the network infrastructure, apply password rotation for IAM users, maintain the physical security of edge locations, and maintain least privilege access to the root user account. So let's see what is the correct answer to this question. And the correct answer is B and D. That is, upgrade the firmware of the network infrastructure and maintain the physical security of edge locations. So, according to AWS Shared Responsibility model, AWS is responsible for providing and maintaining the physical security of its edge locations and the security of the cloud infrastructure. Therefore, D is the option. However, customers are responsible for securing their own applications and data and for configuring their resources to meet their specific security requirements. So, that is the reason that these two options are being selected, that upgrading the firmware of the network infrastructure. So, that will be the responsibility of AWS, as well as maintaining the physical security of the edge locations. Now, let's look into the next question. Question number 42, which says, which of the following are features of network ACLs as they are used in the AWS cloud? Choose two options, and your options are: they are stateless, they are stateful, they evaluate all rules before allowing traffic, they process rules in order, starting with the lowest number rule when deciding whether to allow traffic, they operate at the instance level. And the correct options are A and D. And the reasons for this is that network ACLs are statelets, which means that they do not track the state of individual connections, and that responses to allowed inbound traffic are subject to rules for outbound traffic and vice versa. So, whatever rules are being applied for inbound traffic, they are subject to the rules for outbound traffic. So, that is what network ACLs are stateless means. And network ACLs, they also have a property of processing the rules in an order, starting with the lowest numbered rule when deciding whether to allow or deny the traffic. So, this makes it possible to create more complex network security policies by ordering the rules in a specific way. So, they follow an order when the rules are being executed. Now, let's look into the next question. Question number 43, which says, a company has designed its AWS cloud infrastructure to run its workloads effectively. The company has protocols in place to continuously improve supporting processes. Which pillar of the AWS well architected framework does this scenario represent? And the options are security, performance efficiency, cost optimization, and operational excellence. And the correct answer is D, which is operational excellence. And the reason is that the scenario that is being described above, where a company has designed its AWS cloud infrastructure to run its workloads effectively, has protocols in place to continuously improve supporting processes, aligns with the principles of operational excellence. Therefore, operational excellence is the correct answer. You can pause this video for a minute and then you can go through all the options once again and then you can analyze. I have also given the explanation in the description box. So, sorry, in the video itself, so you can go through the explanation as well, like why I'm selecting these answers among the options that are given in the question. So let's move to the next question now. Question number 44, and this question says, which AWS service or feature can be used to create a private connection between an on premises workload and an AWS cloud workload? And the options are A, Amazon Route 53, Amazon Key, AWS Direct Connect, and AWS Private Link. So basically, they want to establish a private connection between an on premises workload and an AWS cloud workload. And the correct option is C. So, AWS Direct Connect is an AWS service that provides a dedicated network connection from an on premises data center to an AWS cloud region. So, they want a private connection, so it can be used with the help of AWS Direct Connect. Now, question number 45. A company needs to graphically visualize AWS billing and usage over time. The company also needs information about its AWS monthly cost. So, basically, they want to visualize the AWS billing and usage over time, and which AWS billing and cost management tool provides this data in a graphical format. So, the options are AWS Bills, Cost Explorer, AWS Cost and Usage Report, and AWS Budgets. And the correct option is B, which is AWS Cost Explorer. And the reason is because Cost Explorer is an AWS billing and cost management tool that provides graphical representation of AWS billing and usage over time. So, therefore, that is what the question says, that the company wants to analyze the graphically visualizable AWS billing and usage over time. So, therefore, Cost Explorer is the correct option over here. Now let's look into the next question, question number 46. So, question number 46, it says a company wants to run production workloads on AWS. The company needs concert service, a designated AWS technical account manager, and technical support that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Which AWS support plan will meet these requirements? So the options are AWS basic support, enterprise support, business support, developer support. And the correct answer is B. And the reason the correct answer is B is because AWS Enterprise Support is the highest level of support offered by AWS and is designed for organizations that have production workloads running on AWS and require a high level of technical support. Enterprise support provides several benefits, including a designated AWS technical account manager, 24/7 technical support, and a concert service. So, therefore, the answer is AWS Enterprise Support. Now, let's look into the next question. Question number 47. And which architectural design principle describes the need to isolate failures between dependent components in the AWS cloud? And the options are use a monolithic design, design for automation, design for single points of failure, and loosely coupled components. So basically, it is asking that which design principle of AWS architecture isolates failure between dependent components. And the correct option is D. And the reason is because loosely coupled components that refers to the design principle of separating dependencies between components in such a way that a failure in one component does not affect the other component in the system. So this is what is referred as loosely coupled components. Therefore, if a failure occurs in one of the component, it is not being replicated to another component, and it remains with that component only. Therefore, loosely coupled components is the correct answer. Now let's look into the next question. Question number 48. Which AWS service are managed database services? So the options are Amazon Elastic Block Store, Amazon S3, Amazon RDS, Amazon Elastic File System, and Amazon DynamoDB. So it is asking you about the database services. So the correct option is C and E, but you can rule out the options also once you are going through the options. So let's say S3 is not a database service. Similarly, EBS is also not a database service, and EFS is also not a database service. These are storage services. So the only two options that are left is C and E, which is RDS and DynamoDB. Now let's look into about these two options, like what are they? So Amazon RDS and Amazon DynamoDB are managed database services that are offered by AWS, and both RDS and DynamoDB are managed database services, meaning that AWS manages the underlying infrastructure, database software, and security, while customers retain control over their data and application. They don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure when they're using RDS and DynamoDB. Also, Amazon RDS makes it easy to set up, operate, and scale a relational database in the cloud. Amazon DynamoDB is a fast, flexible, NoSQL database service for all applications that need consistent single digit millisecond latency at any scale. So, therefore, the correct answer is RDS and DynamoDB. Now, let's look into question number 49. A company is using the AWS Free Tire for several AWS services for an application. What will happen if the Free Tire usage period expires or if the application use exceeds the Free Tire usage limits? So the options are A, B, C, which is A says that the company will be charged the standard pay as you go service rates for the usage that exceeds the Free Tire usage. Option B is AWS support will contact the company to set up standard service charges. Option C is the company will be charged for the services it consumed during the free trial period, plus additional charges for service consumption after the free trial period. Option D is the company's AWS account will be frozen and can be restarted after a payment plan is established. So the correct option is A. The company will be charged the standard pay as you go service rates for the usage that exceeds the free tier usage. So basically, the free tier provides customers with the opportunity to try certain AWS services for free within certain usage limits. And if a company application exceeds the free tier usage limit, they just have to pay the standard pay as you go service rate for the time they have exceeded the free tier usage. So the correct option is A. Also, I'll leave a link in the description box for the services, so you can go through that link and you can analyze that what all services are free tier services and what all services are not covered under free tier services. So that's an important link, and it's good to have it handy when you're practicing your AWS labs or when you're trying to use AWS for different services. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. Question number 50. So, a company recently deployed an Amazon RDS instance in its VPC. The company needs to implement a stateful firewall to limit traffic to the private corporate network. Which AWS service or feature should the company use to limit network traffic directly to its RDS instance? And the options are Network ACLs, Security Groups, AWS WAF, and Amazon Guard Duty. And the correct answer is security groups. So, security groups are the preferred method to limit network traffic directly to an Amazon RDS instance. Security groups functions as a firewall for Amazon EC2 instances, controlling inbound and outbound traffic at the instance level. So, therefore, the correct option is security groups. Now, let's look into question number 51. Which AWS service uses machine learning to help discover, monitor, and protect sensitive data that is stored in AWS S3 buckets? And the options are AWS Shield, Amazon Mackie, AWS Network Firewall, and Amazon Cognito. So you can rule out the options even after looking at them. So let's say option number A, it says AWS Shield, and AWS Shield, I believe, is used for DDoS attacks. So that is not an option. Then Amazon Cognito, it is a service that is used by mobile and web applications. And then Network Firewall. So the two options that it could be is Network Firewall or AWS Amazon Mackie. And the correct answer is Mackie because it uses machine learning. Now let's look into the next question, question number 52. So, a company wants to improve the overall availability and performance of its applications that are hosted on AWS. Which AWS service should the company use? And the options are A. Amazon Connect, B. Amazon Lightsail, C. AWS Global Accelerator, and D. AWS Storage Gateway. And the correct option is C. Amazon Lightsail. So these are some of the reasons. Sorry, the correct option is C, Amazon Global Accelerator. And these are some of the reasons which you can pause the video and read that why the correct option is AWS Global Accelerator and why other options are not the correct options for this particular question. Now let's move on to the next question, question number 53. Which AWS service or feature identifies whether an Amazon S3 bucket or an IAM role has been shared with an external entity? And the options are AWS Service Catalog, AWS Systems Manager, AWS IAM Access Analyzer, and AWS Organizations. And the correct option is C, AWS IAM Access Analyzer. So basically, AWS IAM Access Analyzer is specifically designed to identify when an Amazon S3 bucket or an IAM role has been shared with an external entity. This lets you identify unintended access to your resources and data, which is at security risk. So that's why the correct option is IAM Access Analyzer. Now let's look into question number 54. A company does not want to rely on elaborate forecasting to determine its usage of compute resources. Instead, the company wants to pay only for the resources that it uses. The company also needs the ability to increase or decrease its resources usage to meet business requirements. Which pillar of the AWS Well Architect framework aligns with these requirements? And the options are operational excellence, security, reliability, cost optimization. And the correct option is cost optimization. Now, let's look into question number 55. Now let's look into question number 55. It says a company wants to launch its workload on AWS and requires the system to automatically recover from the failure. Which pillar of AWS well architected framework includes this requirement? And the options are A, cost optimization, B, operational excellence, C, performance efficiency, and D, reliability. And the correct answer is D, reliability, because they want the system to automatically recover from the failure. So that's why the answer is D, reliability. Now let's look into the next question, question number 56. And the question is, a large enterprise with multiple VPCs in several AWS regions around the world needs to connect and centrally manage network connectivity between its VPCs. Which AWS service or feature meets these requirements? So the options are A, AWS Direct Connect, B, AWS Transit Gateway, C, AWS Site to Site VPN, D, VPC endpoints. And the correct option is B, AWS Transit Gateway. Now let's look into question number 57. Which AWS service supports the creation of visual reports from AWS cost and usage report data? A, Amazon Athena, B, Amazon QuickSight, C, Amazon CloudWatch, D, AWS organizations. So now let's look into the correct option, and the correct option is A, Amazon Athena. Amazon Athena is a serverless query service that you can use to analyze the data from your AWS cost and usage reports in Amazon's simple storage service S3 using standard SQL. So the correct option is Amazon Athena for this question. Now let's look into the next question. Question number 58. Which AWS service should be used to monitor Amazon EC2 instances for CPU and network utilization? And the options are A, Amazon Inspector, B, AWS Cloud Trail, C, Amazon CloudWatch, D, AWS Config. And the correct option is C, Amazon CloudWatch. You can monitor your instances using Amazon CloudWatch, which collects and processes raw data from Amazon EC2 into readable near real time metrics. Now, let's look into the next question, question number 59. A company is preparing to launch a new web store that is expected to receive high traffic for an upcoming event. The web store runs only on AWS, and the company has an AWS Enterprise Support plan. Which AWS resource will provide guidance about how the company should scale its architecture and operational support during the event? And the options are A, AWS Abuse Team, B, the designated AWS Technical Account Manager, C, AWS Infrastructure Event Management, D, AWS Professional Services. And the correct option is C, AWS Infrastructure Event Management. So you can keep this answer in your mind. The option C, it says event management, and the question itself says that they need support during the event. So therefore you can remember it this way, that the option will be C, AWS Infrastructure Event Management. It's related to an event. Now let's look into question number 60. A user wants to deploy a service to the AWS cloud by using infrastructure as code principles. Which AWS service can be used to meet this requirement? So the options are AWS Systems Manager, AWS Cloud Formation, AWS Code Commit, AWS Config. And the correct option is B, AWS Cloud Formation. So AWS Cloud Formation lets you model, provision, and manage AWS and third-party resources by treating infrastructure as code. So thank you for watching, and all the best for your exam. And I will leave the link in the description box so that you can go through the other series that I have made for these questions, and you can practice them as well. So all the best for your exam, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.